Well, hello and welcome. This is the weekly Wellness Wednesday, the WWW, not Worldwide Wrestling, but we do wrestle with a number of what life throws at us. And we bring these interviews to you every single week. I'm Robert here at my home office in Granbury, Texas. My co-host tonight is Miss Tanya Falk. And Tanya, you're in the Salt Lake area? What?
South of there, but yes.
Okay. She's up in the great state of Utah. And welcome, Miss Tanya. It's awesome. And it's an honor to have you here with us. And we'll be introducing our guests momentarily from the beautiful big city there in the middle of the desert. Bright lights and lots of beautiful people there. And we want to welcome our guest in just a moment. Before we go there, a little promotion. Either Jim and myself or Heidi, now Tanya, other leaders, we've really had some great interviews the last, oh my goodness, 7 or 8 months now. If you're watching this interview or this video, whatever it is, live or recorded for the very first time, just know that there's been a lot of awesome people that we've brought to this call, and we uncovered their journey and their challenges and their solutions and they shared from the heart. And so feel free to go onto our YouTube channel. If you've seen this on YouTube or on the Facebook, we have a beautiful wellness group page called Your Next Level Starts Here on Facebook, along with our channel on YouTube, Team Z for Zalevo and Global Impact. So, all right. So Tanya, both you and I have visited with this lady, and what comes to mind from my heart is authentic, passionate, dynamic, definitely a leader. When you meet this lady, I just love the energy that when you meet Andi here, Andi Sage, what a great name. I just see light, and I see authenticity, and I see this inner passioning kind of just under the surface that is just compels people to, step into that, into their next version of who God made them to be. So that's what I felt when I visited and met with this lady over the last few months now, along on our beautiful journey. So Tanya, a couple thoughts around our guest tonight.
I have to just reiterate everything that you've said, as well as I was mentioning to Andi earlier. She's like a party that goes off in her room, like so much beautiful energy and authenticity all day long, genuine, and you get that soul connection really fast. You are just sunshine, and it's going to be a privilege to hear more about your story. I am fascinated with your passion and your drive to not only be really such a great servant to those that you come across. You serve people as you engage. Have been a privilege to engage with you in that capacity, but also to see how much you just really care and love about others and how you serve. And I love that about you. There's beautiful attitudes there. So.
Thank you both. Very kind words. Thank you.
You are so welcome. So Miss Andi Sage, and she's joining us from, again, Las Vegas. And she's there with her awesome hubby. His name is Tim. And also she has a son. I love your son's name is Maxwell.
Right.
Some folks call him Max, but I love how you prefer the official, that impactful, powerful name, Maxwell Emerson Sage.
Right. Well, and Maxwell was my maiden name, and my dad's lineage ended. He had a sister and 4 daughters. So all 4 of us have dropped our middle names and put in Maxwell. And Max was the youngest of 8 grandchildren, even though I'm the oldest. And so he got the maiden name as his first name. So that's part of why I'm used to saying Maxwell my whole life. So why would I shorten it now?
Well, we aren't going to go there with you. So I can't wait to meet him in person, hopefully in the future. So yeah. So tonight is, I know, Andi, I really enjoyed the pre-brief earlier, and I shared these, notes and thoughts with Tanya as well. So just so excited to uncover more of your journey and what to share with the people joining us on this. So one of my initial questions before we go into more, a little deeper look at kind of the journey you've been on, one of my questions is, where does this light come from? Where does the passion? Did it start as a young child? I mean, you're, as Tanya said, we love your light and energy. Where does that come from?
Oh my gosh, you guys are, where does the light come from? I was the oldest of 4 girls. I have been lifted up my entire life. We always sat in church 6 rows back on the right, and church was church in the Midwest. We've all know exactly what that looks like. But being the oldest of 4 girls, there's some responsibility there. I was kind of the son nobody ever had. But the light part, I think that we are born with an essence, and I am super grateful for the essence I got. But I have been interviewed before and said, I want to be love and light to people. So for you to bring that back to me, I'm like, yes. And it's funny that you say I'm a party in a room. I've spent 30 plus years being an event planner. But literally parties. I mean, parties like flying a helicopter over a pool and dropping rose petals type parties. I mean, major parties. But somewhere deep as early as 24, 25, I do remember thinking, what I do for a living doesn't really matter. And that doesn't matter either when you're 25. You do what you went to school to do, and you got the job, and you're doing. But there was always this little voice like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So when the pandemic hit and I lost my job and I lost insurance and I lost my dad and I had a ton of time, it's like, what does matter? And so that was long about the time that I was introduced, at least through a video, through Kirsty Cote, which I'm getting way ahead of myself. But I was like, this matters, and when I can see it in people all around me. I got a text today from somebody saying, oh my gosh, this works. I'm like, yes, it works. So long-winded answer, but I'm excited that what I'm doing now matters.
Great one. It makes so much sense to see you as an event planner.
Yeah, and I was
in Las Vegas of all places.
Well, yeah, that's a great place to be an event planner. So I was almost taken aback. I was reading the body language, even Tanya. So when you say it doesn't matter, but it made sense when you kind of completed the circle.
Yeah, I mean, when you're an event planner, there's a party that's worrying about the kind of martinis we're going to be serving, and I mean, and it's, you're doing events for the haves, certainly not the have-nots, and they do matter. I mean, you can't screw up somebody's wedding. Like, you got one shot, so it does matter in that sense. But I've prayed multiple times, you've got to be kidding me that an entire soul is being wasted on being a party planner. Come on, like, give me more to chew on here. And I've prayed that a lot of times over the last 30 years, but what do you do when you're on the wheel and it's a good wheel? I don't want to negate anything I've done. It's all been good and all been for positive. I just kept thinking there's got to be more to this. And look at that, there is.
Well, yeah. And part of that was affected by your wellness and health journey, which brings us to this call tonight. And before we go there, one more little tangent here for those watching this, because this really struck me on the call earlier today with Miss Andi, and your comment to kind of tee this next question up in this thought process was, I'm jumping ahead too of how we did our call earlier, so I'm gonna throw you a curveball. So alongside of this is how we live life and how we impact matters. Okay, you said skepticism is real. Mm-hmm. Because I think it's a beautiful thing to bring it up front, because if you're watching this and if you are brand new, you haven't experienced the potential, the potency, the power of what we're talking about yet, then I want to address the fact that you're in great company if you're a bit skeptical, a bit reserved. So can you talk about that for just a second here, going into this?
Sure. I had actually a great conversation with my brother-in-law over the weekend. And of course he's skeptical, and people close to you, you would think getting people to try what you've tried and they know you would be low-hanging fruit. And it is actually the opposite. Somebody who knows you is like, yeah, sure, whatever. Meanwhile, I'm over here doing squats and I'm able to do things I wasn't able to do 15 years ago. But the skepticism is real. That is his emotion he's bringing to the table. And why wouldn't he and everybody else standing at Costco be skeptical? There are a million things out there. And that's really, it's kind of how I lead off, is like, oh, yay, just what we need is another protein shake company, right? I mean, there's already thousands. So my counter to that is there must be something really special about Zalevo and what's in these bags behind me for this team to say, yeah, we've got something special enough, good enough, and I mean, way better than good enough, but worth rolling out at this time. So I welcome when somebody's skeptical, especially skeptical without trying, so my favorite part is when the Zalevo light bulb goes on, is skeptical, but respect you enough to try it. And then there's a switch that flips, because it's not working in my body that they're noticing it working in their own bodies.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm at the gym, and oh my goodness, and I'm not a gym rat. I am absolutely not that girl. I always say I've donated to just about every gym in the city. And I mean, donate because I spent money and I don't go, or I go for a little bit and I work really hard and it doesn't work. So I see these people, and you can see, the ones, they're in between sets on the machine, and they kind of have this hopeless look, like, okay, I'll do 15 more. And I just want to go up and say, there's an easier way. There's a better way. Like, keep doing what you're doing, but let me help you, because all anybody's looking for is results. So if you can help them get results, you're like their best friend. So that is my favorite thing, is come with skepticism and then try it, be willing to try it. And I don't want to say get out of your own way, but kind of shelve the skepticism for a minute and try something new. And if it doesn't work, they'll give you your money back. Like, literally, you have nothing to lose. But what if it does? What if it does work?
Yeah. What if the journey you're about to share is real,
Right.
and it can be real for whoever's watching this? So,
Right.
Tanya, a couple thoughts around this.
Yeah. So one, I think I totally can get a picture of how, as an event planner, maybe you weren't getting to see them with long-term results from all of your efforts, other than they got the benefit of having Andi with them during that major time in their life. But it's fun. I'm hearing that you are loving seeing how the results show up in other people's lives. Everybody has a very different baseline in their health. And so the dynamics are unique to each person. Pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm.
That line is so adaptable. But I hear you so passionately promoting the helping someone step out of their way. There's so many factors inside this nutrition world where we have a much more educated consumer base. So
Right.
You have pointed out multiple times, we stand out.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that allows Zalevo to stand out amongst all the noise inside the nutrition industry. What are some of the things you saw that stood out to you as you were approaching it with your own health needs?
Okay, interesting question. And let me back up. I had already been on supplements. I had lost 30 pounds with another company right before my 50th birthday. So yay, I'm good with that. So I'm doing what I'm doing. It's not like I lost it and then fell off the program or anything. I'm maintaining. And around 53, 54, it literally was like, and it stopped working. Stopped working. To the point where I called my good friend Kathy Horn and said, I don't want this anymore. It doesn't work. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be huge. It's going to be what it is. Because at some point you don't really, in your 50s, it's not like, oh, let's go back and reinvent. You're sort of like, let's not slide. Your whole thing is like, let's just not slide backwards. It never occurred to me I could actually reinvent type of thing. I'm maybe getting off on a tangent there. But when Zalevo rolled out 7 products, I bought 7 products because I already knew that if the people involved were telling me this was going to work, I trusted them as people and as human beings. In fact, I tell people, if you go to the Zalevo website, go to our story and assume everything you read is real. Assume when you're reading core values that, like, we talk about it, they're palpable. So anyway, I already really bought into it's going to work. So I bought it all. And even then for me, I was on the plant-based shake and I was maintaining. The reason I didn't buy the whey is we didn't have it yet. And so I'm just in a maintenance mode of whatever. I had lost my job, my insurance, my dad. I wasn't really worried about it. I'm just fine. I'll drink this. I was told to buy the whey. And as much as I trusted people, I also knew I didn't like the whey from before. I had sent it back. So I was like, oh, I don't want to try it. So I kind of kicking and screaming into trying whey protein. So May of 21, I waited till I had nothing left in the house and I drank it for 3 days in a row. And the first thing I noticed was, even though there is a little ball in here, the agitator ball, it wasn't that big a deal. It was smooth. It wasn't grainy. It certainly wasn't lumpy. It tasted good. So I drank it 3 days in a row and I lost 2 pounds. I'm like, okay. So I drank it 3 more days and I lost 2 more pounds. And I'm like, okay. So literally it's sort of like, what else you got in that bag of tricks? So even though, I hadn't tried everything because I wasn't engaged, I guess is the best way to say that at that point. But once you've lost 4 pounds in 6 days and the scale hasn't gone that trajectory at all, you're interested. So from May to July, I lost 21 pounds. I did hire a trainer because I felt like this is the first time, and it was sort of that I'm never, ever going to have another opportunity to reset if I don't do it now. So I did get a trainer, but I trained a half hour a week for once a week. So I mean, 2 hours if I didn't miss a day. So I mean, 3.5 hours a month I was with a trainer. So I don't want to mislead anyone and say, oh yeah, well, she got a trainer. I just got a trainer to like, okay, how do I get the most result given now that I'm doing this? And even my trainer, who they never want to promote anything, was blown away. I mean, literally, like, wow, like using it, even though can't sell it, they are using it.
Those are some pretty awesome results.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you find that that's where you're able to offer that level of trust because you have your own testimony of what it's done for you?
For sure my own, but I also don't mind sharing other people's stories. You know, my new friend Maya Lynn has a 2-year-old. I mean, all day long I'll talk to somebody about their 2-year-old now, because now I have experience with that. And the support on that, when you're talking about someone's child, even though I felt like I knew what to say, I also felt like for her to trust, we probably needed a bigger impact than that. So our director of Zalevo Labs, Kirsty Cody, jumped on a call, spent a half an hour with her, you know, and just explained pretty much the same thing I'd already said, but okay, to gain that level of trust. And we have a healthy little boy now, not mine, my friends, but drank it immediately. And within 3 or 4 days was like, mommy milkshake.
Oh, wow.
I know.
And just to be clear for those watching, this little guy had some gut. We'll just keep it generally speaking, he had some gut issues.
Right.
And isn't it amazing, speaking of that for a moment, guys, isn't it amazing how many people, including kiddos, all ages, have trouble with their digestive system and their gut? So,
well, and she knew because her son had inherited that from her, and her other son didn't have that, you know, so she knew, but it had never been diagnosed, and it's still not diagnosed. We just fed him good, proper nutrition, and it's working.
Right. Help the body be the miracle it was designed to be, for goodness sake, you know.
Oh my gosh, I say that all the time.
I know. So one of my other questions, I know you brought this up on all my conversations with you about joints and discomfort. You know, for those watching, we can't say the other words about this, but we can say discomfort and a little achy, whatever. So can you touch on that? You called it, your term for it was tricky knees. So I'd love to hear a little more.
Right. My mom had trick knees. So when I dislocated my first knee, I was 13, 14 years old, just bent down to pick up a tennis ball and my kneecap slid out. And then I had a skiing accident after that, and I wasn't a good skier, so that didn't help. So I was just more like, okay, that's not for me. And since then, you know, that was in my early 20s. But probably when I was 38 or so, I started seeing, no, it was more recent than that, probably 45. I went to an orthopedic surgeon saying, I need to have knee replacement surgery. I've heard people are a lot more comfortable after they have that. I'm willing to go through it. I can't, you know, I don't hike, I don't run, I barely walk. I mean, I walk, but my husband asked me like, how are your knees? And I'm like, normal. And he's like, what does that mean? I'm like, every day, every step. So I don't complain about it, because what's the point? So anyway, I go in to get, just to talk about that. And my doctor was good. And he said, you know, a good knee replacement's only going to last you 10 years. You're too young. So we're going to nurse, you know, this next 20, 30 years with other things. And namely at the time was cortisone shots. So I had cortisone shots in my knees covered by insurance. And I know your face, Tanya, like it hurts. And it did hurt, but the relief from the pain was worth it, because I've been told with x-rays that I was bone on my knees. And I believe it, because that's what it feels like. So my last set of shots were December of 19. The pandemic happened, and it happened basically in March, and the world shut down, lost my job, lost my insurance, and the shots were $2,000 per round. So, oh, well, it's not going to happen. But July of that year was when I found out about what is today's Zalevo. It was Health Sync at the time, and started on the nutrition, but, and everything's good. Everything's feeling kind of normal. I baby my knees. I just don't walk. I don't hike, but I started with the collagen. When did we start in that? April or March?
Were you part of the beta group?
I was not. I literally had my hand on another product to open it that said collagen on the front. And I got a text from Kathy Horn saying, oh my gosh, Zalevo has collagen. I've been on the 2-month testing group. And I'm like, why wasn't I in the 2-month group? But so I started it as soon as I could. There was a no-brainer. I mean, if Zalevo's making it, it's going to work. So I started using it, and I literally feel like the oil can from the Tin Man on The Wizard of Oz. And when I say my knees hurt, I had my son at 39. So what am I, 41, to kneel down and tie his shoes? Well, I couldn't do that. And I just chalked it up to, I'm an older mom, but I would pick him up and put him on the counter and tie his shoes, and Velcro's brilliant. You know, there are things we just sort of accept that's.
Yeah, so let's stop there for a minute. I like to paint these pictures. So you were just in your early 40s, for goodness sake. And then, and then when you say you couldn't, so it was just a lot of discomfort and a lot of just lack of flexibility too, or it was just mostly the feeling?
It was mostly the feeling, but you get what they call it water on the knee when it gets swollen. So you can't do the kneeling thing because it's too much water in there.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, and I won't do it here because we're on a video, but I call it my party trick, Tanya. I literally go to events. I'm like, watch what I can do. And I can do squats. I mean, I can not just do a squat. I can do 3 sets of 15 nice, deep knee bend squats, which just, it's so empowering that I have literally taken my health back. I would no more go talk. I wouldn't even make an appointment to talk to an orthopedic surgeon, let alone considering knee surgery now. I mean, and that's in a few short months. So I do think the foundation of the Ultra 30, because I had been on that for a year, I think that just making everything ready to then soak in the collagen, you know, and I'm not the science girl. I open my pixie stick, and I know that those that are science people make it work. But there's no denying what's going on around me, you know, and my husband I don't know if you want to go there, but my husband is older, you know, and you'd never know it. I mean, he runs circles around me normally, but now like there's just not a whole lot of conversation about being tired or slowing down. Like retirement's not going to happen because we don't want to.
I love how you have intelligently balked at just accepting aging as just a decline. And I think, you know, we're culturally taught there's just going to be a decline, and you're throwing in the face of that. There's options that don't require you to be on a decline.
Right. I kind of say the last thing I want to die of is old age. I feel like there's so much, I mean, I'm looking so much more forward to the future years as opposed to, well, gosh, if I feel this now, I'm going to gain that much weight. I'm going to lose my mobility this way. Like, who wants to do traveling or do anything then? And now I'm like, we went camping this weekend. I mean, razor riding, like I have the energy for it, you know? So, I mean, even I will say I'm still kind of a napper. I like a 20-minute nap, but half the times I lay down and I'm like, okay, I'm up, you know, like if I can't, you know, my body isn't requiring what it used to require. So
I love them.
and
Inspiring.
that, I have a 17-year-old who has a shake every morning on his way out the door. You know, I don't really even care so much what happens the rest of the day. I just know that the baseline, you know, he's soaking that up. I feel like, wow, if I had this when he had been a baby, I can't even imagine how tall he'd be. He's already 6'1", but what if he had Zalevo since then?
I love it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So again, your path going forward, where do you see yourself going with this, personally in nutrition, and then, you know, where does it take you that way? And then I'm going to even say inside of your business, what's your vision for what this business serves in your life?
Okay. Well, personally, I feel like I just want to get stronger and keep maintaining that. I don't have any desire to wear the bikini and the acrylic high heels, although I think I could get there. Just going to
can pull that off. And
I saw somebody that this weekend, I'm like, okay, it doesn't look that different. But no, that's not me. But just really maintaining, you know, and I don't know. I mean, my mom said to me at one time, she said, oh, I don't think I need E-Vibe. I think I have enough energy. And I'm like, I wonder what that looks like, you know? So like, I don't know. They haven't created it yet, but right now I feel like, what else could I possibly want? Like my husband literally says, I have my girl back. You know?
Feel like you're crafting a different lifestyle than what you had planned for this phase of your life?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Not
I
that I
missed the
ever thought I'd
first
be the
step.
wheel of, I never thought I'd be the Wheel of Fortune watcher, but neither did I think I could maybe ski again, or pickleball's the new thing with Adam and Sarah, I mean, there's definitely things that I would consider now that I wouldn't have before.
That's
You know?
awesome right
And then
there.
as far as my business, I really feel like there was a call a year ago probably, and Jill said something about I see land, and it was with Christopher Columbus, like I see land, like I see the vision that Brandon Broadwater talks about. I see that not just as a company, but I see my part in that company. And at one point I'm asking Kathy, I'm like, where do you find people? Like, I can't just walk up to people in the gym. And she's like, pray to move the right people, pray to God to move the right people in your path. And I kid you not, my new wellness partner, Maya Lynn, I found 6 rows back on the right. I literally met her and counted back the pews and said, thank you, God. Like, it was so right there. I mean, I can't deny that she was put there. And I feel like she's my first wellness partner that wants to get up and run. Like, she gets it, So, which it just makes it more fun. Who wants to work all by themselves? That's not fun. And not that I was, but I was only working this way. I was at the bottom of my thing. And now I've got somebody that I can help run with. She's a young woman in her early 30s with 2 kids. Like, wow, the impact this is going to have on her life. And I get to help that. That's fun. That's really, really cool.
I think we forget sometimes, particularly when we're in business mode, that there are actually people out there that are praying that someone will come in their life with an answer. Like, where were you at with your knees? You were looking for answers.
Yep.
So that you weren't cut off from aspects of your life that you wanted. Right. And what came to you. So I think we sometimes forget that there are people out there right now that are praying that you will have the courage to say something.
Yeah.
Because you will be the answer for them.
I like that. My husband and I just briefly started a little company called Sage Health Advocates because we have a couple of devices there. However, the first question that always comes up is nutrition, because if we're over here doing microfrequency or over there doing, heat therapy, and they're eating McDonald's, like, it's literally lighting money on fire. So before we ever even go there, I always do a good, whatever it takes, long strategy session and figure out what works. But 9 times out of 10, it's going to come down to, what are you eating?
The label changes the playing field without a doubt.
Right.
I love that. And as you said, I think one of the closing thought for those watching, and I love this statement, hope in and of itself, hope is not a strategy. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about reality here. This is a tangible, world-class, unique, yummy. I mean, it's products that, my goodness, that work. And when you put them in a system, it's amazing. So the invitation is always, if you're watching this or somebody invited you, get back to that person and, look closer and have a healthy dose of skepticism, but back that up with some openness and a willingness to grow, Right.
I mean, here's the deal. If you don't have Zalevo, you already know the trajectory you're on. If you want to try something that is new and it is different than every other product bag jar out there, you could rewrite not just the next few years, but the rest of your life, physically and financially.
Yeah.
Well, and you're illustrating that beautifully. I love your story.
Thank you.
Yeah. And please give our love to your hubby for allowing you to be on this tonight. Yeah, to step out of that. And obviously he obviously shares your passion for people and empowering others.
Yeah, he does. But I will say he's always been supportive. Anything I want to do, he's going to support me in it. But there's support, and then there's running with you, and that's different, So literally, he makes my trio in the morning while I'm getting ready. If I'm the first one out the door, or we reverse it. Yeah, it's just, it's nothing. If somebody had asked me 30 years ago, do you see yourself in the nutrition field? I'd have been like, I eat high-end food and beverage. Why would I do that? And I'd never crossed my mind.
I love it.
But I also feel like when you know about something that is so good, how can you not share it? And I feel like when you're sharing it, those who know better do better. So I want to tell everybody.
Well, speaking of everybody, how about we honor some people who were on this live tonight, guys? So Cindy Talley, love you. She said, hi, y'all. She's been around the Southerners too long, a lot. Andy, you're so inspiring, from Elaine Huish.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, I love Elaine too, and her hubby. Scott Lucas, yes, we're all in this together. Carol Henderson. Scott loves your term, your bag of tricks. I love that.
My bag of tricks.
And they're a pretty classy bag of tricks. Diane Johns sending love and light to your way, and then Denise and Carrie Maxwell Ellison. Carrie
That's my sister and a wellness partner, I will say.
She said, so proud of you with about 6 exclamation points. So
I have 2 sisters who are wellness partners. So need to help them take off. Yes.
Well, you can share this story. So Carrie, thanks for joining us, and many individuals who will benefit from this story tonight in this interview will be sharing this recording. And so we just want to thank you for your time, your passion, and
my pleasure, truly.
Opening up your heart tonight. So if there was one thing for anybody watching this that you want to leave them with, a clear thought, message, what would that be, Miss Andi?
Oh, goodness. If you want help really in anything, you need to ask. Because whether it's health or otherwise, there are people who are willing to give. This culture in this company is not something Brandon writes up there and tells us we have to act a certain way. I mean, everybody shows up with it, and these are the reminders of what got us to that point. So if you need help with anything in your life, ask. There's way too many people out here that can help with different things. You're not alone in this life. We are meant for community. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but I'm going to, because it's me, give it to God. If you're unclear about anything, give it to God and then rest in that.
Wow. Getting little goosebumps. Thank you, Andi, and Tanya, thought as well.
I have nothing more that I could possibly add. I think you have beautifully illustrated what's possible, and I think the invitation, anyone watching this, there's an invitation to take some action and get back with who invited them to see this, or however they got connected. Your story is powerful, and there's more like this inside that community that you just so richly edified. And it's a privilege to actually get to serve here. Robert, you are a great leader in your own right, and just are a great example of that servant leadership. And it's been
absolutely
a privilege to be with you guys.
You both are.
Awesome. Well, this is our tribe, guys. And if you're watching this, you're our tribe. So thank you for showing up and doing what, I always say this, but we'll say it again. You're doing what 95% of the planet do not do, is simply show up and work on yourself. And as Andi said, I love how your closing thought was ask, for goodness sake, ask. That's the Aladdin factor is beautiful. So timeless. All right. We always do this. I'm going to count to 3, and we're going to just send some energy to our people watching this. We're going to yell out one of our core values is called force for good. So 1, 2, 3.
Force for good.
Love and light. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Take care.
If you're watching this, thank you.